worst, right?
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
worst cheat food you can do.
Yeah, but when he tells me free for all, oh, it's going to be a large pizza. No, hands down. It's going to be a large pizza. And I go into it knowing, okay, I'm going to wake up Saturday morning and I'm going to feel horrible. But it's going to be great Friday night. And yeah, and then off season.
Welcome to the Work Hard People's Podcast. We got episode number 3 here today. I'm James. We got the lovely Emma, and today we have the guy I like to call the Viking, Zach Keene. So we'll be diving into his story a little bit. How you doing, Emma?
I'm good. How are you, James?
Doing fantastic. Zach, you doing good today?
Doing good today. I woke up breathing. So
there you go. We're all on the right side of the dirt, right? So
absolutely,
that's the best part. Hey, before we kick this off, just want to handle a little bit of business first. Really want to thank all the viewers and subscribers. We really appreciate the engagement. Please like and subscribe. It's been fun talking with some of you, and we appreciate you taking the time out to listen to what we have going on. Also, our fledgling little podcast has picked up a little bit of a sponsor, so we're going to give them a shout out to Viking Home and Office Solutions. They're a construction company out of West Virginia. If you live in the southern West Virginia area, give them a call. They can handle your needs there. Excuse me. You can reach them at 304-923-6961. Once again, it's Viking Home and Office Solutions, and we'll post some stuff up. There'll be a link in the description about what all the things they have to offer. I know they're hardworking peoples over there too, and it's a vet-run business, and they will take very good care of you. And don't forget that we are running a promo right now. So if you are a family member, or if you know a vet, or if you're a veteran yourself and you are looking, you need some help. You found yourself in a hole, you need some help, you want to get out, submit your name on the website. You can go to the podcast email. It's whppodcast. whppodcast at workhardpeoples.com. Submit that vet's name. The end of March, our team, we're going to get together. We're going to pull 3 names, 3 veterans, and we're giving them a free, all-inclusive 12-week program. So that includes nutrition training, or nutrition coaching, physical training. We're going to have personal development sessions with you to help you overcome the changes of diet and stuff. And we really want to do that. So submit those names. We'll get those come the end of February. We'll pull them out and we'll reach out to them and get that squared away. With that, once again, we are Work Hard Peoples. We are a coaching company. However, that being said, the idea of this podcast is to highlight those that maybe aren't always getting a lot of attention, even though they're out there doing great things, making huge changes in their life, trying to make themselves better. We want to highlight their stories, bring them to you so that you can see what they're doing, maybe learn from some of their mistakes, as well as their successes. And if you find yourself in the same situation, that'll give you the opportunity to maybe learn a little bit, take their advice, and you can get yourself on the right track, which is what we're all looking for. So, but with that, let's get to Zach here. So Zach is Zach's a guy, his story, just from what I know of it, I know a little bit about it, but not the whole story. His story is one of, I know that he got himself in a situation that he wasn't really happy with the way that he looked or the way he was feeling. And he decided to make a change and really turned it around. So, and to the point where he even was able to get himself on the bodybuilding stage. So that is fantastic. And Zach, why don't you start out? Just tell us a little bit about, I mean, you don't got to go through your whole childhood, but tell us a little bit about you growing up. How did you get to the point? what led to the point? Because we all have that thing that, or whether it's a family dynamic or whatever it is, what led to the point where you found yourself in a situation where, man, I do not like what I'm seeing. I need to make a change.
So I grew up. My dad worked construction my whole life. We had a little play farm. We had cows, horses, chickens, stuff like that. I grew up always working hard. We woke up when the sun come up. We worked. We come in when it was dark outside. And with having the southern kind of country upbringing, we had my mom cook breakfast, dinner. It was good southern food. If anybody knows, southern breakfast is eggs, bacon, sausage, biscuits and gravy, all the good stuff. And then dinner, it was always a meat, whether it be pot roast, fried chicken, Salisbury steak and gravy, ham, and all the sides. You'd have potatoes, green beans, corn, just all the good southern food. So we always ate good. Now, for the most part, growing up, at a younger age, I was always skin and bones. I was a really skinny guy. I got pictures that I look like a light pole, just tiny, round. I don't remember at what point I put on weight. I just remembered, middle school, I was overweight. I can remember, I don't know what it was about the sweets. We had what we called a sweet cabinet. The corner cabinet had all our cookies and cakes and stuff in it. And I can remember times, asking Mom, "Hey, Mom, can I get a Swiss roll?" She said, "Yeah, sure." I'd go get one. I'd open it. I'd eat a pack of Swiss rolls real quick, hide it in the trash can, get another one, and then walk into the living room. Got my Swiss roll. I had a sweet tooth that was insatiable.
Oh yeah.
And then that just it all just added on as the time grew longer. And I always, once I became, young adult, I kind of maintained, seemed like around 220, 240 was just my body's natural weight.
Yeah.
When I met my wife, I was around 240, working in a factory 6-7 days a week. And I actually had decided to lose some weight after we got together, moved into our own place together. And I did the insanity workout for 90 days. Didn't really track my food, but ate better. And I lost. I was like 246, 247. I got down to 228. Was looking good. My wife was pregnant with Connor, our firstborn. In the midst of all that, and he was born. But by the time he was born, and a few months of age on him, I quit my factory job and went back to work construction with my dad, pouring concrete foundations for houses. And I thought, okay, I've lost this weight. Now I'm gonna get to a real active job. It's gonna make it easier to lose weight. But what people don't take into consideration is when you go from either a sedentary job or a somewhat active job to a very active job, as your energy expenditure gets bigger throughout the day, so does your appetite. And if you don't contain that appetite, you're going to grow as the appetite grows. So when I went into construction with my dad in 2014, I was about 228, 230, somewhere around there. And before I knew it, it was July of 2017. I stepped on a scale in my bathroom, and that scale went up over 300. I just got off of it. And
so do you know what you topped out at?
I don't know what I topped out at. As the scale was calculating, and that first number was a 3, I got off the scale. I was around 305, 310. I didn't want to see the number, and so I stepped off. I was like, this ain't gonna happen. I said I'd never get above 300 pounds. And in 3 years, I went from 230 to 300 something. And so,
question.
Yeah,
I have a question. So you said that when you go into an active lifestyle, and like you were saying, your metabolism picks up, so you're burning more calories, so you are more hungry. Mm-hmm. It might seem a little insensitive, but why did it take you 3 years to realize that you were eating more than you probably should have been, even though you were more active? Was there ever a point in time where you were like, maybe, did you ever make an excuse as you were, were you making yourself excuses as to why you could, I can eat this right now because I'm, busting my butt? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't think I really took nutrition into account for it because, like I said, when I lost the weight doing Insanity, I didn't really change much of how I was eating. Um, I didn't really eat that bad, partially because I didn't have a lot of money, so we didn't have money to just throw around for food all the time. I was kind of eating what little stuff we could afford. So I didn't know
Gotcha.
much about nutrition. Even when I started losing the weight that I've lost now, um, I had to, I like I said, I stepped on a scale, saw the weight. I was like, I got to do something. Then I seen my brother a day or two later, and he's 6'4", always been a big guy. And when I saw him, I was like, "You've lost a lot of weight." He's like, "Yeah, I've lost about 70 pounds." Um, and he said he just downloaded MyFitnessPal and started tracking his food. So that's what I did. I downloaded MyFitnessPal and I just started logging all my food. I got on one of the generic TDEE calculators and got my caloric
Mhm.
need to lose weight based off my activity level.
Hey, Zach, real
Yeah.
quick. It's crazy when you first start tracking your food. It's crazy if you do it honestly what that number is, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I
I was
started
about to say that. I bet you were like freaking out. All of a sudden you thought that you were eating so much, and then all of a sudden you find out that that one meal was 2,000 calories,
oh yeah.
not the 500.
What I
It's
needed
like
to eat.
Emma's green chili double.
Yeah.
What I needed to eat, what it was saying I needed to eat was around, to lose the weight, was around 2,500, 2,700 calories, And so the first, several days, several weeks, I don't remember. I just weighed and logged everything that I was eating to the best of my ability. And when my caloric intake was in the 5 digits on a normal day, I was like, well, no wonder I'm holding it 300 something pounds. I'm
Yeah.
eating like a horse. And so I lost 65 pounds in the first 5 months. But the problem with
Oh
the way that
wow.
I lost weight is I could have done so much better if I knew then what I know now. Because I just read stuff on the internet. I was on Reddit and the weight loss subreddits and stuff. And I picked my calorie goal, and that's the only number I looked at in MyFitnessPal. So, if I woke up and, 3 donuts would fit my calories and I could pick a light lunch and another something for dinner, then I ate 3 donuts for breakfast. I remember
Mhm.
there for a while, I was fitting 3 or 4 pieces of cheesecake at the end of the day into my calories, and my calories were there. I was losing the weight that I was supposed to, but I felt like just exhausted, drained. I had no
Yeah.
energy.
Well, it's the type of fuel
Yeah,
you put in your car,
that's
right?
exactly. Yeah, but at the end of the day, that I did the same thing. I would do my fast and I would go as long as I could so I could go have a really good meal. But that's what keeps you going, and that's kind of what I touched on a little bit with the last
Oh yeah.
podcast. That's what keeps you going. So, yeah, you ate your 3 cheesecakes, you ate your donuts, but that's what kept you fueled. If you had just jumped right into trying to get under 300 pounds, get under 200 pounds, whatever your goal was,
Hmm.
you would have probably burned out because it is
Probably so.
extremely
Yeah.
difficult. It is simple, but it's hard. And especially like you're saying, if you had known what you know now, your mindset, your discipline wasn't at that point yet that
Yeah.
it is
Absolutely.
now. So,
Um,
it's just
and
kind of one of those things.
probably about 4 months in, I'd say, to me just kind of eating whatever I could fit, I started finding out about macros, protein, carbs, fats, and how big of a part they play in muscle retention. And I was only eating probably 40, 50, 60 grams of protein a day. It was all fats and carbs. Because like I said, I was eating the donuts and the cheesecake and Pop Tarts or whatever I wanted to eat. Um, and once I started balancing my macros a little bit better, I feel like that my muscle retained better because I'd always been a big, strong guy. And then when I had lost most of my weight down to 190 pounds from over 300, I wasn't very strong. Now, a big part of that weight loss before I learned anything was also I was going to the gym 6, 7 days a week. And I was pouring concrete and digging ditches, and I was eating about 14, 1,500 calories a day. Now, granted, the weight was
That'll take the weight
falling
off.
off of me, but that's not just fat that I was burning either. Especially on
No.
60 grams of protein, my body was just taking whatever it could for brain function, because you've got to have your proteins and fats for proper hormone production and brain function. My old doctor, he also believes that the way I lost weight so fast is why I ended up on TRT. I just trashed my endocrine system because it didn't have the ingredients it needed to make proper testosterone, so I was starting to shut down.
Yeah.
We got my nutrition on point with my macros, and that's what led me to go to the doctor for my testosterone. Was I was eating everything right. I had the proper protein and the balanced fats and carbs, and I was adding weight back on, but it was kind of going back to fat. It wouldn't quite put on the proper amount of muscle. So I went in and got tested on my testosterone twice, once and another time in 3 months. And I was around the 240, 260 total test range. And
yeah, and I know. So like right now, the normal levels they consider to be normal is 300 nanoliters per deciliter up to 1,000.
mm-hmm.
So that's the normal range, 300 to 1,000. And so 240, especially. How old were you?
I was 29 at the time.
Yeah, so 240 at that age. I mean, you're definitely definitely out of even the low normal zone.
Yeah.
And it does have an effect, because I take TRT because I mean I'm 51,
mm-hmm.
and I was on it for a year. Simply I was just feeling bad. I was fatigued. I was tired all the time. I couldn't maintain energy. Low libido, all of those things. And I just I went to my urologist and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I feel terrible. I am tired. I can't. It's just. And he's like, well, let's do some blood work. Did blood work and found out that I was down around the 200 level, and so
mm-hmm.
he put me on just a maintenance dose of TRT, and I felt normal again.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't have to get up and maybe sometime during the day take a nap or drink a bunch of caffeine to fight through the day. I could get up in the morning, take care of my business throughout the day, and go to bed at night.
Yep.
No more old man stuff.
Yeah, that's right. No more old man stuff.
And yeah, so my doctor put me on it, a dose. He got my test around, between 600 and 800 total tests. And we ran it for 6 months, and I was feeling fantastic. Well, that particular doctor decided to leave the practice, and another one took over. And this is where I kind of butted heads with the PCP, prescribing test. Is she said, well, let's just drop you off testosterone and see what your levels are doing now. So she dropped me off cold turkey, didn't give me any Novadex, nothing to help fight pulling off testosterone from 100 to 0.
So your system
and within
crashed again.
Yeah, well, man, within about a month or two, I was bad, and I was about in the same place I was before, except I had the knowledge of how good and normal I could feel, so it was worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 months later, she sent me to a urologist, and she tested me, and I was 305, just above the normal. And she said, well, you're fine. You're within zone. You don't need to be on TRT. Now, my issue with those zones, because like I said, I'm not a medical professional, but this is just, I have a guy that I go through now.
Yeah, just a disclaimer. We are not doctors. We are not doctors here. This is just through lots of research, but we are not doctors.
My new physician.
We've watched Grey's Anatomy, but
there you go. Yeah, I watch House, so I'm a mean doctor.
Yeah, right. I watch House.
But my new physician I go to, his problem with that general practitioner's range is that 300 to 1,000 is 26 to 90-year-old men. So the older guys are factored into there. Yeah, 300 for a 90-year-old might be fantastic, but for a 20.
Zach, what you're talking, everybody's different, right? Like,
exactly.
The key is I might be sitting at 300 and feel great.
Mm-hmm.
And you may not be. And that's why I think that people really need to focus on individuals and not so much a statistical range of highs and lows, because they make it so broad.
Mm-hmm.
For me, we found that if I'm in that 400 to 450 range, I feel great. It's perfect. I don't need any more than that. I'm great. But for someone like you, that might not be the case. So.
Yeah. And so after she wasn't going to put me back on it, I just took matters in my own hands. I found sources to get testosterone myself, and I kept myself on the dose my doctor prescribed me because I know that it felt good. Now, and of course,
Once again, I got it. Hold on one sec. Disclaimer: don't do that.
Yeah. Don't do that. Yeah. That's
not
the way to go.
Get to a clinic. You
never know what you're getting if you buy it from someone else.
Correct.
But if you're going into it for health reasons, see a professional because they know how to get you where you need to be.
When all this was going on, Zach, just as we're going through this, is this kind of when you started really like focusing on like bodybuilding weight training, or was that before or after that?
This is all right in the mix of that. So I was weight training hard at this point because I wanted to look good. Bodybuilding was not even a glimmer in my eye at this point in time. I just wanted to look good because I had always been the obese guy growing up. I'd always been the one who got picked on for my weight. So I wanted to look good in the mirror. And when I got down to 190, the smallest I was, I thought I looked fantastic. Looking back at my pictures now, I did not look fantastic. I looked malnourished. Because I was starving myself. And so in the midst of this whole testosterone thing, getting my levels fixed, and then when I started, like I said, dosing myself, a buddy of mine, this is where the bodybuilding part came in. This is while I was working at a Macy's facility here, a shipping facility. One of my closest friends, Chris, he said, "Hey, check out this video." I'd never seen a Machiavelli motivation video in my entire life, but he sent it to me. I was kind of reading up on some of the bodybuilders, and just because I like seeing their physiques and trying to get some goals in mind. And it was a Seth Ferosi Machiavelli motivation video. And the way this guy talked and the way that he presented himself and was all about the blue collar man, it drew me in. So I started watching his YouTube videos and doing research on Seth Ferosi, watching his posing and his stage shots. And I was like, man, I like this guy. And then, I joined the Axe and Sledge group on Facebook. Yes.
That's right. It got him a man crush.
Oh yeah. And I don't like Axe and Sledge at all.
Yeah, no.
But
we got a good friend, Heidi Wacker. She wants to marry Seth too, so it's okay.
We can be in a polygamous relationship. That's fine with me.
When you talk about Seth real fast, so yes, Seth is rough around the edges. Yes, he speaks whatever is on his mind, but also yes, he is a salt of an earth type of dude. I'm telling you right now, I've never met him personally, but if you were on the side of the road in the ditch, that man would stop and help you. He loves to do things for his community. He's just a salt of the earth guy, so you take the good with the bad. He puts a lot more good out in the world than he does anything else, right?
Oh yeah. So I started just looking more into the bodybuilding style workouts and stuff. And that's why I decided, I want to grow. I want to get bigger and I want to be leaner. So I changed I was more of a powerlifting type. Let's get as strong as I can at that point. And stepping back and looking at how one of the reasons I decided to lose weight, well, the original reason was because I couldn't play with my kids. I couldn't get on the ground, play with them, and then get back up. I hurt. My back hurt, my knees, my feet were the worst. Tromping around in and out of ditches, carrying 300 pounds. So I wanted to feel better. So I lost the weight. I was feeling better. But then with the powerlifting, it didn't agree with my body. My shoulders were always aching. My lower back hurt. And it could have been form issues, or it just could have been my body had so much wear and tear from carrying the heavy weight around that, it just didn't fare well with it. So I started, lowering the weights, and I never did get much of a pump in the gym per se that I can remember doing the powerlifting stuff. I started getting that full blood, just feeling the skin tight feeling. I was like, this is the feeling that I like.
Yeah.
And from there on, it just took off. And the same guy who introduced me to the Machiavelli motivation video, Chris Midget, one of my best friends, he had hired a coach and said, he's like, I want you to hire this coach because you're wanting to get into some bodybuilding stuff. He's a bodybuilding coach. And I couldn't afford it at the time. I said, man, I can't. It was like a $200, $300 sign up initial, and then so much per month. I said, man, I can't afford something like that right now. He's like, well, I'm going to pay for your first initial setup and then your first month. He said, you give him 2 months. He said, and I guarantee you that you will find a way to make it work. Man, without the help of my coach, his name is Brandon Alexander out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. Without his help, I don't know that I'd ever get on stage. He pushes me. He believes in me. He tells me that he's like, without a doubt, you're one of my harder working clients.
Didn't your coach just compete in the Olympia Amateur?
Yeah, he competed in Amateur Olympia in Las Vegas. He took third in overall super heavyweight, and he took first in Masters, 35 plus.
Nice.
So Vince beat him out.
Yeah, he did. He beat him out by 2 places.
Vince, that dude is a monster.
Yes, he is. Yeah, this year was, from what I understand, the first year they did not give a pro card for the master division. So, that he was a little upset about that. But he said, all that means is I've got some work to do to come back and take overall. So
Gotcha.
that's not stopping him.
Zach, you were saying before just kind of your diet and what you were eating, and pretty much consisted of anything and everything under the sun.
Yes.
What does your diet look like now? What kind of plan are you eating right now? And what do you eat when you're not on a strict plan, when you're not in prep?
So when I'm in prep, it's pretty boring. And this is where I was talking to my buddy at the gym the other day. I've seen there's 2 types of people that I have seen that can do this kind of stuff. It's the ones who can have their macros and they can make these gourmet meals, or they can make a daily meal plan that's different every day that can fit their macros, and so they could have different foods, different times of day, different days of the week. I try that, and when I try to have a little bit more of a free eating style, I lose control. I eat too much of this, or I add in extra. What works best for me is I eat the exact same thing at the exact same time every single day. Right now for breakfast, I'm getting potatoes and egg whites. After the gym, I get 2 scoops of protein. About 3 hours later, I get chicken and zucchini with some pineapple. And then at about 4 or 5 o'clock, I get chicken and green beans. And before I go to bed, I got 2 scoops of protein and a spoonful of almond butter every single day.
Gotcha.
It doesn't bother me one bit. I have no problem eating the same thing every day. My wife has no idea how I do it.
So do you have any obstacles when you do like that? Because obviously your kids are not meal prepping.
Well, currently my biggest obstacle is my 2-year-old won't eat all my healthy food. Oh yeah. My 2-year-old, he loves my chicken and broccoli or green beans or whatever I have. No, I mean, I even go so far
I already
as
made it.
you're eating my gains, man. But no, I mean, we went out today. We had to go do our grocery shopping and get the kids some clothes. And wife wanted Dairy Queen. She wanted they got some tossed and sauce honey barbecue strips that she likes. I walk in there with my lunchbox and I order them food. I sit down and I eat. I had chicken and broccoli for lunch. We've walked into fancy restaurants. And I'll pull out my little lunchbox and pull out all my little sauces and food and eat. It don't bother me one bit.
Yeah, last night myself, I had 200 grams of sirloin steak and a cup and a half of broccoli. And my wife and her friend that was over, they made these big stuffed shells with hamburger and cream cheese and all that stuff. And I just pounded my steak and broccoli. That was good.
I will tell you the hardest trial in all this is when my wife has me pick up pizza for her and the kids. Pizza is coach. He'll give me a cheat meal. Of course, he will regulate my cheat meal sometimes. He'll say, for your last meal, Friday night, we're set up for a cheat meal. And sometimes he'll say, no pizzas, no dairies. So he'll
pizza's the worst, right?
Yeah,
but cheat food you can do.
Yeah, but when he tells me free for all, it's going to be a large pizza. No, it's going to be a large pizza. And I go into it knowing, okay, I'm going to wake up Saturday morning and I'm going to feel horrible, but it's going to be great Friday night. And and then off season, when I'm not in prep, coach has changed his coaching style based off what he learns from his coach, because every coach has a coach. His off season used to be, the stereotypical, just get big, put on as much mass as possible, and then shred down for your next season. And his mindset at the time was just force feed. You have to eat as much food as you can to grow. He used to go as far as he would put beef and rice in a blender with water, blend it up, and just drink a beef and rice shake because he was so full he couldn't chew it anymore.
I'm not that dedicated.
No,
I am not.
And before I ever got into my off season, I had made a comment, how full am I going to be all the time? And he was like, "You're not. I don't believe in that style anymore." He says I've gotten better results of basically eating the same thing you do on prep, just more of it. Just slightly above maintenance. You're looking to gain, you're looking to gain a minimum amount of fat through your off season, so that when it comes to prep time, you don't have to kill yourself for 20 weeks. You can slowly taper down to show prep, so you're not just starving yourself all the time.
That's a lean bulk. That's what that Cutler did that for years. He always, even at his biggest, Cutler still had a 6-pack.
Yeah.
So because he ate the same foods, just more of them, just kept himself in a surplus to gain the muscle, but didn't let himself get fat. So
now, the one thing that I was not prepared for after my first show was,
hey, before you go after show, what was it like at the show?
Oh man,
Take us up those few weeks leading in your show experience.
So my show was May 28th, 2022. So it wasn't quite full hot season, but it was still nice and warm outside down here in Middle Tennessee. And for those of you who don't know, I dig water and sewer lines.
Emma told him all about it. She said, one thing you got to know about Zach is that he is always in the shit.
So I have a physical job. Some days worse than others. Some days it's a lot of driving and grabbing parts, but at the time I was the ground man. I was the guy with the shovel in my hand doing the dirty work. And luckily my lead technician, the guy that I worked under, he knew what I was going through, so he would step in and help me because he knew how tired I was. I had a lot of room to make up for to get on stage. So coach put me through one of the toughest preps he'd ever put someone through to get me lean enough to get on stage. The last 3 or 4 weeks of my prep, my meals consisted of, I don't remember if it was 5 or 6 meals a day, but it was chicken breast and asparagus 5 or 6 times a day. My macros were 300 grams of protein, 0 carbs, and trace fats. Of course, I had carbs from the fiber and stuff in the asparagus, but that processes and evacuates so quick that it doesn't necessarily count. The asparagus was to help with water weight, but 3 weeks of just, you got to figure 300 grams of protein. That's 1,200 calories a day.
Yeah,
and I was lifting. Weight sessions were no longer than 45 minutes. He said at 45 minutes, whether you're done with the program or not, you cut it out, and then you go get on the Stairmaster for an hour, and then go to work. So I was extremely drained, but I leaned up so fast. I felt good about how I looked on stage. The only issue is coming from being 300 plus pounds. I got loose skin. So of course, the judges, when they're looking at someone on stage for bodybuilding, they may have thought my story was an amazing transformation. Probably one of the hardest workers on that stage to get to that point, but their job is who is the best looking person on that stage right now.
It's still a bodybuilding show.
Exactly. It's they're still there to judge the best physique, and loose skin hanging down around over your posing trunks isn't the best physique. So that's not.
Are you doing anything for that or?
A lot of water. I need to start taking some collagen to kind of help that. But we talked about trying to get me to have a tummy tuck to get rid of loose skin. That will help. I have some loose skin in my chest area. It's not quite as much as it is. I don't think it's as much as it was when I was on stage. And I think we believe that growing my chest and back wider will help kind of pull that up, which is probably one of the reasons that it's not as bad now, because my shoulders have gotten quite broader since my show. That's what I have a GoFundMe link that I haven't been plugging lately. It's not been one of my main priorities. I need to pick back up on that, but.
Well, yeah, we'll throw it out there. Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely throw it out there and see if we can't get some help your way to
Yeah.
get that squared away.
Now,
so you got on stage. When you got on stage, man, how was? Here's what I want to know. You knew where you were. You know your story.
Mm-hmm.
How cool was it to get up on that stage, man?
So, driving from Tennessee to Indiana, I was nervous. Here I am. It's Friday, and in 36 hours, excuse me, I'm gonna be on a stage in front of hundreds of people with cameras on me, and at one point, I'm gonna be the only person on that stage, so everybody's gonna be looking at me.
Yeah.
I wasn't even a good speaker in front of a classroom of 30 kids in high school when I had to read my book reports and stuff. So I was a little bit nervous. But when I was backstage after I got my spray tan, I got a funny story when it comes to spray tans too. It was kind of like, it felt natural. I felt like I was in my element. Backstage talking to the other competitors, I was a little bit self-conscious because, they looked great with no skin. But I couldn't believe how many of them come up to me and was like, "Hey man, I could tell you've lost a lot of weight. What's your story?"
Yeah.
And they were asking me questions and talking about how good I looked. They were even the guys that I was competing with in the same class was giving me pointers backstage about how to try to pose to kind of hide some of that skin to give me a better shot. I was expecting it to be, they wouldn't want to help because of course they want to win, but everybody there was just like, man, I hope, best of luck, hope you win it. And I've even a few of the guys that won the category that I was in, the first and second place, they were, I talked to them a bunch back there. They told me that had I not had the loose skin, that I would have given them a run for their money, because size wise, the heavyweight class, I believe the top weight was 225, and I was 222 and a quarter. So I was right at the height of that size. Now, granted, there's going to be a few pounds worth of loose skin, but I was competing with guys who were, my height, a little shorter, around, 185, 190. I don't remember exactly what the weight categories were, but they were right there in the weight range. And with me being at the top end, I have more muscle mass to show off, which is what they're wanting to see. But even in the lineup before they walked us up on stage, it was just like, this is amazing. When I stepped up on stage and those lights were hitting me and I was posing and listening to the commands, I was like, this is home. This is it. We did our pre-judging, and then we got off stage. And then the coach told me, he said, all right, pre-judge is over. You look great up there. He said, you have 2 commands. He said, you go out and you find the biggest, greasiest burger and fries and Diet Coke. You eat it, and you lay in that hotel room until finals, and you kick up with your feet up, and you don't get out of bed. My buddy Chris Midget, who introduced me to all this stuff, he came with me. He was like, Chris is going to be your butler. That's one of the reasons he's here. So I needed anything, Chris got it. He's like, you just sit back and relax, keep your feet up. They want to keep the blood flow and all the water weight from swelling up around your calves and stuff. And I could not wait to get back on stage for finals. Even in the lineup, where I was not one of the center lineup, so I kind of knew I didn't have a great chance of winning this. I still couldn't wait to get back up there. It was amazing. There was only 6 competitors in my weight class, and they only picked five places. So of course I didn't place. My family, they were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." My wife was bummed that I didn't win, even 5th place. And I was like, "Why? It was amazing. I loved it." I didn't really expect to win first place. My first show was still having the loose skin and stuff, but it's the experience. I learned what to expect next time, so I'm not going to be nearly as nervous. I know how to prepare better. It was amazing. Now, what I wasn't prepared for, yeah, I'm bigger now. What I was, what I wasn't prepared for was what they call post-show depression. After the show, it was kind of like, all right, I prepared for months for this one moment, and now it's over. Now what? That I don't have that goal. Now, some people, it's no issue for them to say, okay, well, I've got my next show next year or, at the end of this year. So they might not have one picked out or a date, but they know they've got it so they can focus on that. But I didn't have a physical date. So I kind of lost sight of that. Then, of course, if anybody knows the bodybuilding world, after my show, I had to come off of certain hormones. We taper those down. That messes with your mindset, and I had a pretty rough depression after that. I still tried to maintain my meal plan as close as possible, but I was more so just eating okay during the day, and then the evening it was more so whatever I wanted. We went to the beach 11 days after my show. I had decided, okay, after my show, we're going on vacation. We're going to have a blowout. I'm going to enjoy some stuff. My stage weight was 222 and a quarter. When I came back from the beach, it was probably 19 days after my show. I was about 245, 250.
No.
Yeah, in not even 3 weeks. I had to wear.
But how much is that as water? How much is that as water? Because you're severely dehydrated.
Yes. Yeah. Gaining that fast is not healthy on your heart. That much water fluid retention. I had to wear compression socks.
Your blood pressure, right?
Yes. I had to wear compression socks. I had to put them on about 30 minutes before I left the house before I could even put my work boots on my feet because they would not fit in my work boots. My calves were spilling over my socks with just water weight. When I got back from the beach, I told Coach, I said, Coach, this is my weight. This is what I look like. And so he put me on a 24-hour water fast. I could have nothing but water for 24 hours. And I think I went from 245, 250 something back down to 230s in 24 hours. I had never urinated so much in my entire life. It just flushed that water out. And from then I maintained around that 230 weight, but I was, we were trying to gain, and we even pulled back a few times and cut back to a short mini cut because I was gaining too fast. And part of that was because, I was like, all right, Coach wants me eating at about 80% of my meal plan now instead of 90 to 95%. So I've got a little bit more leeway. So I'll have 2 or 3 Oreos with dinner, and 2 or 3 Oreos might have turned into 2 or 3 sleeves. It just, that's where zero self-control comes in when it comes to sweet stuff. And I've known this my entire transformation. I've known that if I give myself a little room for sweets, I better be able to pull my butt back because I'm not going to stop.
Sugar's not my problem. Bacon is. I'm not a sweet guy. If I'm going in, I'm going full hog.
Mine's a burger and fries.
Yeah. And so, I kept, I knew towards the end of the year, I was like, they're going to have another transformation challenge. And even though I could have done the same thing on my own without it being an official challenge, I felt like I needed that time frame. Ever since I hit submit on those initial photos, I've eaten about 98% of my prescribed meal plan every day.
Nice.
Most of the time it is dead on every single day from start to finish. Then there's days like last night. We haven't had a date night. I don't know how long. It has not worked out. So she was like, I really want to go out, but I don't know what we can do. Yeah, we have 3 kids. She said, I don't know what we can do because we usually go out to dinner. And I was like, well, we'll go out to dinner. I still have 2 meals left. I'll take my macros from those 2 meals and I'll make one dinner match. And I did fairly well. May have went over a little bit, but I know this is technically in prep, but I still got to enjoy my life. But I've gotten my laser focus back, and and I feel like myself again. that dedication I had for during my prep is just boiling. And I know I'm pestering my coach because I'm like, Coach, I know we're only doing 30 minutes of cardio, but I'm feeling great. You want me to do an hour? He's always like, stick to the plan. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to have a rest day, but I'm feeling great. You want me to go do arms? He's stick to the plan. I was like, yeah, I know. Sorry. I feel like I want to do more, but doing more always doesn't get you more.
Trigger happy.
Yeah.
That consistency, Emma talked a lot about this in our last episode too, and you've mentioned it several times, so I just kind of want to highlight it. When you're going through anything in your life, no matter what it is, there's going to be these mental highs and lows, right? These ebbs in your mental capacity, your ability to think coherently, to make good decisions. Obviously, most people know if you're very calorie deficient, you're a very bad decision maker. And then if you have triggers, right, like sweets or things like that, like in my family, it was, everything was revolved around eating. If something was sad, we ate. Not good food, we ate. Something was fun, we ate. A celebration, we ate. Everything was about eating. And like I said, never good food. It's like pizzas and cakes and all of this stuff. And mentally it's hard to deal with. And then you're coming off everything after the show. You eat, right? And gain that stuff back, get yourself kind of, what's going on? So yeah, it's tough. That mental challenge, like I said, Emma talked a lot about that last week. That mental challenge is so important to get your head around it.
You have to learn what you as an individual has to do in order to not give in to the mental weaknesses. That one of the ways that I got so overweight was whether it be my wife or my kids. Once we had them, we'd make dinner, and or we'd go out to dinner with my wife, and her or the kids would eat most of their food. And that in my mindset was, well, I'm not wasting this food. I'm not going to waste the food, so I would eat it. But what's worse, throwing the trash in my body that I don't need, or throwing the food in the trash? That'd have been much better throwing it in the trash and wasting the food instead of hurting my body.
That's just kind of how all of our generations grew up. Like you did not waste food. That was not a thing. Like if I didn't finish my food, my mom would come over and poke my stomach and say there's an empty spot.
Like, and a lot of that comes from my dad was born in 1954, so he grew up. His dad was a sharecropper, so he worked on a farm to get to live there. So they didn't always have the best stuff. My dad could tell me stories of he remembers having a BB gun, and he built a target where he could shoot his BB gun and then go collect his BBs back to reuse them, because they couldn't just go to the store and buy more BBs. So when they had food, they ate their food, because sometimes their lunch the next day might not have that much food. So growing up, it was, hey, don't waste that food, because he grew up not having much. So that's where we have to try to break generational gaps. We try to teach our children.
Go ahead, Zach.
I was gonna say, we try to teach our children, a little bit better about eating healthy. My son, he would eat and then not say he was full and eat all of his food, and then he'd go throw up later because he thought he had to eat all of his food. And we're like, hey, learn when to stop. Now we're still working on, they don't eat the best foods. They get their frozen chicken nuggets and their frozen fries, but 3 kids, it's kind of hard to make them all eat the same, especially when
you know what? Just eat that Cheerio on the floor. I'll just call it a day.
Yeah, it's just okay. Sometimes it's just, hey man, as long as you're eating something, just eat.
Right, exactly.
My daughter, get better with it. My daughter, she has thrown away a bowl of. I dealt with my ice cream. I want some of Daddy's cottage cheese, or I want some of his broccoli. So here, honey, have it. It's better for you. But
that's awesome. Yeah, just kind of going off of where you were saying though, with the generational habits, because that's what it is. Just for anyone that's out there that is struggling trying to break those eating habits, it is probably one of the hardest habits to break. And mostly because most people don't think it's a negative habit. You think you need to quit cigarettes, you think you need to quit drinking, all that stuff, but you don't think about the food that you're eating and what you need to cut out of your diet. There's this really great book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. You can get it on Audible. You can buy it. absolutely life-changing. Will completely change your perspective on so many different things. So if that's one thing that you're struggling with, Atomic Habits, Audible, the bookstore, literally anywhere, I really highly suggest either listening to it or reading it because it's life-changing.
And one of the things that I've done to break some of those snacking habits was when my kids are done with their food, or my wife's done with her meal and I'm putting their plates away, I walk straight to the trash can. Just I don't even give my chef a chance there, but scrape it and put the plate in the sink. Because if I set it on the counter, I'll say, that leftover chocolate chip pancake's looking kind of good right now. My wife's gotten real good. She does her best to help me out. She'll cook pizza or something for them for lunch, and she would always just leave whatever they eat on the stove. And leftover pizza, room temperature pizza, is the best thing in the entire world. So I'd come home from work and I said, "Oh, there's a half a pizza on the stove, and I need half a pizza." Now, when I come home, there's a pizza pan on the stove that I could tell there was pizza on, but the rest of it's in the trash can. She goes ahead and throws it away for me, knowing that I'm like, she doesn't even ask me more. She'd ask me, "Hey, you want me to leave you a piece of pizza?" I'm like, "Yeah, leave me one piece." She won't even ask more. She just throws it all away because she knows I don't need it, and she knows that I will. She knows that I will eat it. I will say it's okay, and then regret having eaten it later on.
So what's in the future for Zach?
Long term, I want my pro card.
Okay.
I don't care to. I mean, if it was ever get to that point, it would be. I'd accept it. I don't care to keep going and get on the Olympia stage or win the Arnold. I just want my pro card, and that's basically just kind of a slap in the face to the obese Zach in my mind that says you can't do it. I had wanted to lose weight so much before I started, but my mindset was just you can't do it. You're too far gone. You're obese. You just get used to being fat. And that guy's still in there. He never leaves. That person will never leave. You just have to learn how to shut him up. And I feel like a pro card will help muffle that voice. And I still see the old Zach in the mirror. When I look in the mirror, I'm the hardest on my physique. I'm like, well, he's that still fat, but then I look at my check-in photos and I'm like, I'm not that bad. You have to keep going back to those photos and looking back at where you started to really see how much you changed. Body dysmorphia is real, and it can really mess with somebody's mental state.
It's crazy too, in the speed at which a lot of people think that, in 8 weeks I'm going to be a new me. No, it's just the beginning. I always tell people, especially people that I'm coaching, I tell them, listen, this is not a game of days or weeks or even months. This is a game of years and decades. So you need to, the sooner that you can wrap your head around that and remember that changing yourself for the better, it doesn't happen in a few weeks. Yes, that's a good start. That's the very beginning steps. And then you add upon it and continue to add upon it. But it takes years to see really big change.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking at a check-in photo the other day, and I went back 2 years, and I was like, wow, look at my back from here to 2 years. But it took 2 years to get that. It didn't happen in 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 12 weeks. It was 2 years of consistent eating and training and all of those things. Consistency is the key.
Yep.
Exactly. And that's kind of how that 8 weeks, that's how I was last year. I was like, I'll just do this and then I'll be done. And that's not what happened. I just kept going. I've been building on it for the last year and a half, and I can't wait to see what I'm going to look like by this time next year. So yeah, 100%.
Once you stick to it, it doesn't become work or doesn't become an 8-week challenge. It just turns into habit, lifestyle. And that's one of the talking about, James, you mentioned going back to a previous year's picture. That's why I'm very big on, my wife thinks I'm being vain, constantly taking pictures in the mirrors or all the gym selfies. And it's not for, hey, look at me right now. It's because I'm in 2 years, I'm going to look back at this photo and compare the same photo to what I've got now. I pulled up one of my check-in photos from the 2021 challenge, the first one I ever went in, thinking, like, when I look in the mirror now, I think, I don't look that much different from when I went to the first challenge. And I pulled up one of my check-in photos from the first challenge and then one of my most recent check-in photos, and the mass that I have gained surprised me. I was like, wow, that is a different guy. But it took 2 years to get to that point. It wasn't 8 weeks. It was 2 years.
Bro, I've seen it. I told you that earlier, man. The muscle fibers in your shoulders look like tendon cords.
Even on pictures, looking at your idols and stuff, I'm the same way. I get on Instagram. I look at all these bodybuilders or just Instagram influencers. Like, and I think I don't look like that. But why don't I look like that? Because what you're gonna see on social media, that is their prime photos of that day. They're fabricating that look to post on social media. You're not going to see them just walk in the bathroom, take a picture, and put it on social media because it's unflattering. So you have to take 100%. What you see on social media with a grain of salt. I'm guilty. The pictures that I post in the Action Sledge group, yeah, they're after the gym. They're at a full pump. But the check-in photos. That's one of the things I like about these check-in photos. They're typically first thing in the morning, or so you've got they're humbling to me to look at my check-in photos compared to my gym photos. And say, okay, well, I still look good, but I don't look full pump.
They also have decades of training.
Oh yeah.
You see those guys guys that are on stage with a pro and with a pro card in the open class. That's a decade or more of very consistent eating and training and eating, and like Groundhog Day, man. And people don't realize that either. They think, oh yeah, these guys are out there, they just jam in a needle and blow up like that in a year. No, it's decades of work.
You could take all the steroids and even in a year you won't get that kind of progress. That's not even how they work. It's stacks and stacks of just constant training, constant following your meal plan, not changing it every 3 or 4 weeks because you want something different, or you can't go into an off season or a bulk and go for 2 weeks and then see lose your abs and freak out and start cutting again. You have to commit. It's gonna take. You're not gonna like how you look all the time.
Yeah, Emma. I should just have you talk about this again. You did a great job about that last week. Food is the key to everything.
Yeah, one of 100%. My favorite sayings was you can't outrun a fork. I don't care how hard you work in the gym. What you put in your body is what dictates how you look. I tell everybody, it's about 60 to 70% diet, about 20% sleep, and 10% training. People think they're going to go in the gym
made in the kitchen and built in the gym.
Yep.
There you go.
And people think, I'm in the gym for an hour or two. I'm thrashing my body. I'm burning all these calories. If you were to see how much calories you actually burn in the gym or in cardio, it's nothing compared to what you do in a 24-hour period of just living. You go to the gym for an hour and do some weightlifting and then 20 minutes of cardio, and then you go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a large mocha frappe latte and a half a dozen donuts or even 3 donuts. You just killed all the calories you burned in the gym right there.
Yeah, you killed it. 100%.
And also on the...
Oh, go ahead. Keep going.
I was going to say on the same note, I see all the time about how people talk about how they hit 100% diet Monday through Friday. And then Saturday they went out with their friends and they had beers and drinks and nachos and cheeseburgers or pizza. And it's like, well, you just went from being in a calorie deficit all week to a major surplus in one day.
Yeah,
you took 5 steps backwards. You suffered Monday through Friday for absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
that's not saying that's not saying you can't go out on the weekends and enjoy yourself, but you have to limit it. You still have to be within that range to reach your goals.
100%. So hey, you gonna try and compete this year?
Our plan right now is to take 2023 as a full off season to try to expand as much as I can, and like I said, try to save up to get that surgery. Coach really doesn't want me on stage again until I get this skin taken care of because it's almost redundant to get on stage if I still have the skin issues.
Especially since you have a goal, you're trying to get a pro card. You're not just going there to improve your self-esteem. You actually have a physical goal in mind.
So I have to get to where I look the part. Now that's not saying that we can't, hit this challenge the next 5 weeks and then go into more of a lean bulk, and that skin might tighten up enough over the next year or so, or several months to be to where I'm good enough to get on stage. But that's all on my coach. I'll let him make my decisions when I get on stage again, because I don't want to get back on stage just because I want to. So I run backwards on progress. There was a Rich Piana video that really spoke volumes to me. He said, if you want to compete in the big boys on stage, 250, 260, 270 weight class, but you're currently 200 pounds, what's the point of gaining to 210, 220, and then go, I want to hit that show this year, so cutting back down to 205, 215, just to gain up to 225, I want to hit that show to cut back down to 215. He says, you're never going to get to that stage weight you want to be in. He says, so if you have to take 2, 3, 4 years of not competing to get to the point where you want to compete in that class, you're going to get there faster that way than you are if you go ahead and start competing. So, if you might want to go ahead and step on stage once or twice to kind of get an idea and a feel, but then pick a goal, pick a weight class that you want to win in, and don't compete again until you get to that weight class, or you're just going to spin your wheels.
Yeah, 100%. And especially the way you're doing it, which I think now is the way your coach is doing it now is a much healthier way, and just a better overall way to not gain a bunch of fat along the way, but do it clean. Do it just with more of the same foods you're eating, gaining those few pounds every week of as you go, without really blowing out. It keeps your aesthetic better, keeps your waist better, everything. So.
Oh yeah, a lot better on your heart and your organs too. That fluctuating high weight quickly and then dropping back down, it's a lot harder on your organs to keep up with the blood flow, the digestion, the liver function, the kidney function, when you're adding a weight really quick and then taking it off. If you can gradually build that weight up, your organs will be able to follow and perform properly. Same thing with gaining lean mass too fast. You've got people who will hop on these massive steroid cycles, and they will gain a massive amount of muscle mass in 2, 3, 4 months. But muscle mass grows a lot faster than tendons do. So once you gain muscle so fast, you can pick up that weight. You can bench press 405 pounds. Your muscles can handle
it, right off the bone.
But your tendons, the connective tissue that connects your muscles to the bone, they can't handle it. That's when you're going to get a career-ending injury.
Yeah, 100%.
So anything too fast is not a good thing. Slow and steady. Now that's not to say that you should look the same way you do a year from now. Not that slow, but a good progressive steps. A friend of mine shared a picture with me the other day that's talking about, it was I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was talking about how small steps get you your goal. Big steps won't. And it's got a guy with hundreds of little tiny steps on a ladder, and he's almost at the top. And then it's got a guy with just about 6 steps, same length ladder, but he can't even reach that first step to even start climbing the ladder.
Yeah,
baby steps. That's where it's going to get you where you want to go. A little bit better every day.
Well, that's awesome, man. That's really good. Emma, you got anything?
I don't really think I have too much. You kind of gave us your whole spiel, and I mean, it's really admirable. Just kind of that you sat down and wanted to talk to a bunch of strangers about your story and be vulnerable. So we really appreciate that. But I did want to ask, obviously you hate Axe and Sledge supplements. So, with you being affiliated with Axe and Sledge, you are a part of Demo Crew. Do you want to go ahead and tell everyone what your discount code is and tell them a little bit about that?
So if you go to the axandsledge.com website, they have supplements, they have gear, lifting belt straps, they have apparel, t-shirts, they have flags, snapback hats. If you use the code KEENE10, KEENE, the number 10, you'll get 10% off your order. I have tried several different brands of for one, whey protein. I get that bubbly gut, digestion issues. I have only found about 2 or 3 brands of protein that I could ingest and it not give me just cramps. The whey protein gas that my wife absolutely loves, but the Axe and Sledge, their protein uses digestive enzymes to help your body process the whey, the dairy process in it to help aid in digestion. That's one of their key ingredients. All of their ingredients are patented ingredients. They have no fillers. It's all right there on the label. There
That's
are
awesome.
other brands.
I was just going to say real fast. We'll post your code in the description as well, so everybody will be able to find it there, and we'll blast it up on the screen for you. But you were saying, go ahead.
Like I said, there are other brands that I'll branch out and try something, but I always come right back home. It's they're a little bit on the higher price of things, but when it comes to what I put in my body, sometimes you get what you pay for. You can go to Walmart and get protein for half the price, but you're going to pay the price for that cheap protein.
I hear you. What's your you got Instagram and Facebook?
Yeah, my Instagram is it is Zax ZAX _peak _performance. And I think my Facebook is just facebook.com/ZAKKEENE.
Awesome.
Give me a follow. I try to post as much content as I can. My content is, I'm trying to have to find new ways to keep my content up. Coach has me kind of on dark mode on posting my physique online. He kind of wants to give a little bit of a wow feature at the end of this 8 weeks.
Yeah.
But I'm still posting. I'm really trying to get out of my comfort zone and start recording some of my training. I don't know what it is about setting up a tripod with my camera in the gym. It's just I'm not there comfortably yet. I don't want to feel like one of those arrogant Instagram guys, but I do record some of my sessions, but it's more so for me to go back and go, okay, my form's a little tweaked off, but I'm gonna try to get better about upping my content.
It's the same way. It's the same way we felt when we hit publish on our first podcast episode.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just you got to get that vulnerability gone about putting yourself out there. You're gonna have to get used to the negative comments. I was posting my physique in Reddit when I got started, and there was a lot of hateful comments on there. And at first, it almost deterred me, people being nasty. But then, the positive comments outweigh the bad. Now, one of the best things about my entire journey is when I get these random messages or these random comments on my update posts and stuff. Guys telling me, man, I started watching your progress, and I saw that one post you made, and since then I got off the couch. I've lost 30 pounds. I've lost 40 pounds, or I had given up and I've started again. All these messages that I get about from people that's just, your story has pushed me to get myself healthy. That means more to me than getting back on that stage. I love knowing that I'm helping people start their journey to health.
That's awesome, man. So yeah, everybody go give Zach a follow. Also, Zach's been kind enough to agree to every so often do a little drive-by on the podcast here and kind of give us an update where he's at, if he's going to compete somewhere, so we can go kind of support his journey. Zach's a really good guy. I follow him on Facebook. We've had many conversations, and he will definitely reach out and give you the information that you need. He's a father, a husband, a very, very hardworking individual, not just in the gym. His job, I'm telling you, I know what Middle Tennessee's like about end of August, and the last thing I would want to be doing is digging a ditch.
Oh,
and, he's out there doing it, killing it for all of us.
Middle of summer, I have to bring a duffel bag with about 3 changes of work clothes because I'm going to go through them.
I bet.
When I'm in a 10-foot deep hole and the only airflow I got is coming out of a main sewer line, it's not pretty.
Yeah, no, and I've definitely seen some of those pictures, but yeah, once again, we appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for listening and subscribing, and just taking a look at what we're putting out. Remember, Work Hard Peoples, we are a coaching company. We want to help you out. We're here for you. You can go to our website at www.workhardpeoples.com. There's all kinds of information there. And don't forget that we are running we're running a promo right now. So if you are a family member or if you know a vet or if you're a veteran yourself and you are looking, you need some help. You found yourself in a hole, you need some help, you want to get out, submit your name on the website. You can go to the podcast email. It's whppodcast. whppodcast at workhardpeoples.com. Submit that vet's name. The end of March, our team, we're going to get together. We're going to pull 3 names, 3 veterans, and we're giving them a free, all-inclusive 12-week program. So that includes nutrition training or nutrition coaching, physical training. We're going to have personal development sessions with you to help you overcome the changes of diet and stuff. And we really want to do that. So submit those names. We'll get those come the end of February. We'll pull them out and we'll reach out to them and get that squared away. And with that, Zach, thank you so much for coming on. Emma, any last words?
Nope, just I'll let you take it away, James. I was going to say what you say, but I'll let you take it away.
Okay, we forget anything?
No, you're good.
Hey, you can say it, girl. Say what I say.
No, it's okay.
Come
You got
on.
it, James. You say it better than I do.
Okay. Hey, thank you everybody for watching. Remember to work hard, peoples, and don't forget to smile. We're out. Thanks so much for watching or listening. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook at Work Hard Peoples LLC or Instagram at Work Hard Peoples LLC. You can also find us on our website at workhardpeoples.com. Have a great day or night. Don't forget to smile.